Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your friend, your host for the Lead Without podcast. We have another wonderful guest, my new good friend, Christy, from a place I used to call home for 2 years, Edmonton, Alberta. Beautiful tropical Edmonton. Yes, you heard me. Tropical, especially now. I'm sure, Christy, have you loaded up on all those suntan lotions because you will need it, especially when it's minus 25 outside.
Yeah, no, trying to stay warm here. All the blankets, I think, is what you meant.
No, I know. So we had a wonderful conversation last week. We connected once again through this, my favorite group in the world, the Serving Circle. And a little bit about her is that she's a really firecracker. Whenever she has an idea, she just go for it. She's writing a book. She's launching a business. So this, from what I understand, just right now, this weekend, she was kind of bored. What do I do? Okay, let me just launch a new program. She just did that. Today is what, Wednesday? She launched it on what, Sunday and Monday, and she already has a client. I told her, listen, Christy, now you need to do a masterclass on that, helping others how to launch a program. Even in better launch, it still gets a client right away. You have that magic touch, my friend. So that's among anything. She's she's all about love. She's very passionate about having impact and helping people. She's writing a book, starting it this year, and she's building her brand, building a book. What she's doing mostly in a nutshell, she's helping people get unstuck, taking back the power in life. She was a fitness coach, a piano teacher, so a lot of good things here.
I still do both of those things, actually.
Wow.
I know what's going on. Yeah.
One thing I said, she's an action taker. She's she embodies the Nike slogan, just do it. She does it, and her tagline is very in line with what she does. You're not broken, you're human. Stop apologizing. So again, there's so much we can talk about it. Absolute joy to talk to her, and I'm super happy to have her here. So Cristy, my friend, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to have a conversation. Already, I love conversations, so I'm so down for this. I'm so looking forward to it. Thanks so much for inviting me on.
Pleasure's all mine. So as I told you last time we spoke, the kind of conversation I like to have on my podcast is to have a look under the hood, so to speak, to see what's in your heart and have a heart-to-heart conversation, to get to know you as a human being first and foremost. Sure, we're going to talk about your business and all that, but first about you as a person. So are you ready?
I am absolutely ready. I was born for this.
All right. Awesome. I love that. So tell us, for people who don't know you, who's Cristy as a person, as a human being?
I mean, that's like a kind of a deep question, my friend. But I love going deep. So this is right in my wheelhouse. I'm not going to I'm going to start with what everyone thinks that you should explain yourself to be, just so I can give everybody a little history of my background and how I got to be where I am today. And then I'll share more about what I believe my identity to be now. So, as Payman, as you alluded to, I started my first business as a piano teacher when I was 14. So I've been teaching piano. I have been a teacher, mentor, coach in various capacities throughout my entire life. I have always enjoyed adventure and entrepreneurship, like I say, right from even age 14. And then I actually have a business degree. I got a Bachelor of Commerce with accounting major. I worked in public practice, the corporate world, as an auditor in accounting, not a tax auditor, just a regular auditor. They didn't hate us as much as the tax auditors, but still, it's not the funnest job. What I actually really loved about the work that I did in public practice was actually, ironically, not so much the work as it was the mentoring, the leadership, the training the new students, and that part of my job. I'm very nurturing. I'm very, I love to help people to transform and level themselves up. And that's always been something that I've been super excited and passionate about. However, I had 3 beautiful babies, which are now teenagers, quite some time ago. I've been out of that corporate world for 15 years. As soon as I left it, I realized it definitely wasn't the place for me. And it explained a lot of things, like why I was sick all the time and why I could not get my ass out of bed every morning. It just was not the place for me. I am absolutely way too spontaneous as far as my energy levels to work it wasn't even 8 to 5. It was like 7 to 7. Sometimes it
Whoa.
was like long hours and just a lot of work. And frankly, that's just not my jam. I am much more like, I love flexibility. I love making my own schedule. And I would just much rather build my dream than someone else's. So anyways, back to the rest of the next little bit of my journey after I had kids. I was at home with my kids, decided not to return to my job. Fate worked that one out for me. And that was like the best possible scenario for me to stay home with my family at the time. But when they started getting a little older, as my youngest kind of got into the kindergarten age and I had this time, I was like, okay, like I need to be doing something more. I was teaching piano. I taught actually in that time period, some post-secondary courses in accounting. Woo, so exciting. They weren't real fun. I enjoyed teaching. So I did continue pursuing that, but it wasn't exactly like the area of passion for me. But that said, it led me along my path. And here I am now. I actually followed my passion into health and fitness, became a fitness instructor, personal trainer, nutrition coach. That's kind of where I got my first bit of just start in the coaching area, which has just exponentially skyrocketed since that. My vision with all of that was very mindset focused. So I want to go in. I don't want to just help people get a six pack. In fact, if you're wanting a six pack, I was never the coach to work with because I just do not think that's important in life at all. So that's for someone else. I am totally not about rigid rules. I'm very anti-diet, all of these things. So for me, it was all the mindful aspect behind it, the intention. Why are you moving your body and how can you do this in a way that feels good to you and gets you results at the same time? And I think that's actually the fastest way to get those results. We're not here to talk about that, but that is kind of the path I went on. It was very much intentional coaching behind why are you doing what you want to do and what is going to be the end result that you're seeking. I really discovered that for the most part, people would say they wanted to, I don't know, fit in a certain dress or lose a certain number of pounds on the scale. The truth was, it was something so much more than that. And what it was is I ended up taking them for the most part on this journey of learning to love and accept themselves where they are. And then the weight literally and figuratively sort of comes off when you're doing the things that you love doing, that you're excited to do, and you're doing it with the right intention behind it. So, okay, fast forward a little bit more, COVID hits. I am teaching all kinds of fitness classes all over the place. I love interacting with people and socializing with people. So I had kind of built this structure of going around and teaching all these classes and interacting with a ton of people, but it just wasn't quite enough for me. So COVID actually, I'm not grateful for COVID, but I'm grateful for the opportunities that arose out of it because again, like that opportunity kind of got wiped out in one fell swoop. And so I had to reassess yet again where I was going to go. And I decided at that point to really just dig in on me, work on my mindset, work on my personal growth journey, dive deeper into the coaching and see where we end up. And at this point, I really think that I am, when you ask, who are you? I see myself as a safe space, a holder of safe space. I see myself as someone who has a lot of abundant love to share with other people, someone who has a lot of tools in her toolbox to share that, I believe are going to transform people's lives. My vision for not just my business, but for the rest of my life is to help people transform, to help people begin to create the life that they've always wanted, taking back their power and making it happen. And then, coming together to magnify that through the collective, sharing that similar voice, vision, and then, magnifying that and out into the world. And I believe together we can change the world. So.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of good things we can.
Yeah.
Unpack.
Sorry, you probably weren't asking for that much. You probably, I'm complicated.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Now, let me ask you a series of rapid fire questions on further getting to know you. Now, tell us, what makes you happy as a person?
Oh, adventure.
Mm.
I love having adventures, love heading to the mountains. My most amazing partner and I love to hike.
Oh yeah,
I love the ocean too, but it's kind of far away. So the mountains are our intermediate like adventure place.
love that. Now, what makes you smile?
Oh, other people. I love people, most people. I love most people. I love positive people.
Yes,
I love helping people. I love putting a smile on people's face. Uh, my partner makes me smile all day, every day.
beautiful. Now, what makes your soul come alive?
Oh yeah, that's definitely helping other people to discover more of who they are and what their purpose is, helping them
Good.
transform to get from that stuck to like really living a conscious life to create their own dream life, basically.
Awesome. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Oh, what makes me sad and angry? Probably negative energy, toxic behaviors, people who are missing out. Like, it honestly breaks my heart to see many people stuck in patterns that are not serving them, and they're stuck in negative ways and oftentimes blocking themselves from having the love, the joy, the peace, the happiness that they truly desire.
Yes, can agree with that. Absolutely. Now, what scares you?
What scares me? Being super, super vulnerable sometimes. I think that's probably relatable to everybody. And I do like to push the envelope and push myself to feel vulnerable, because I do at this point, and I used to be very, very scared of being vulnerable, but I've realized the more I'm vulnerable with the right, safe people, that has always served to expand me. So I now am less scared, and I'm now more like wanting to dive in and dive into that vulnerable space, because I know that out of that comes so much expansion.
Now, what would you say is your personal, your number one personal superpower?
I think it's love. I think it's like I say, it's like providing that safe space full of love and acceptance, because, is sometimes as simple as that allows the person to be vulnerable and experience that same expansion on their end. And I absolutely adore being able to do that for people.
Awesome. Now, moving forward, can I ask you another series of rapid fire questions?
Yes. Yes.
First of
I
all,
love it.
you like traveling, right?
Yes. Love traveling.
What's the very first trip you took?
Very first trip I took, like as an adult or like anywhere
Up to
ever.
you. Up to you. You're the
Okay.
star of the
I
show.
think like the first most memorable trip that I took was to Disney World, to
Oh, wow.
Florida. Yeah.
Mhm.
With my family. Like, I think I was about 12, and I've actually been back to Disney World quite a few times. I think three times, at least three times. I do love Disney. It's pretty awesome.
What's your favorite Disney character?
Oh, I don't know. Even if you ask me who's your favorite celebrity, I might have a hard time with that too. Like, for so many different reasons. I mean, classic Mickey, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Now let me take you down. Let me take you to another trip down memory line. Go back to when you're a young girl growing up. When we're kids, people around us, parents, teachers, family, always ask us, "So, Christy, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What was your
Oh,
answer back then as a young girl?
I had a few. Some of them I've pursued in various different ways, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about by that. At one point, my mom likes to remind me that I really wanted to be a rock star. So
Mm,
I did have a brief stint on TikTok. I mean, I'm
yeah.
still kind of on there, but I'm not really doing that kind of content. But I say it's because it's kind of fun. Um, I like to sing. I'm not the best singer. Um, it's just fun. What I really wanted to be like in more seriousness as a child was to be a teacher. And I'm sure that when I was a child, that perspective was a school teacher, because that's what I knew. And then as I grew up, obviously I have been a piano teacher. I have been a post-secondary educational teacher. I have taught accounting courses directly to professional accountants, and I have taught fitness classes. So I think I think that played out. I think that checked out.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now, when you were younger growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or hate school?
Oh, I loved school because, like I said, I love being around people. And actually, one of the reasons we connected is because I absolutely adore conversation. That is definitely my favorite place to be, is in conversation, especially actually deep conversations that mean something. But I loved school because I got to be around people, and I actually really enjoyed learning. I am a lifelong learner, without a doubt. I am still kind of a bit of a nerd that way. I love reading and learning different things. And while, to be totally honest, I'm not the most, this is going to sound really ridiculous because I was an accountant, but I'm not the most detail oriented when it comes to the specific things. And in accounting is different, that's different. But I mean, in like more complex subjects like neuroscience, I'm freaking fascinated. Quantum physics, I'm just like, oh, this is amazing. I could probably not explain to you in great detail with scientific terms how the things work, but I can explain to you on a more practical level. And I think that's probably maybe more useful than the specific high level scientific details anyways. I love school. I love learning. I will never stop learning. So
absolutely. What was your favorite subject in school?
If you'd asked me then, I probably would have said phys ed. I really like, classic kid. I didn't hate any subjects except for maybe social studies. I am not like, history and geography is just honestly not my strong suit. So that one was probably like, I don't know. That's just, so that's for some people. Some people love that stuff. And I'm just like, ugh, like, let's look into the future. Forget the past. I know it shapes you. It's good to have basic. This is what I tell my kids. I didn't love social studies. You don't need to love it, but it is important to know how things became the way they are. So
absolutely. So you said that you started your first business as a piano teacher when you were 14. Yeah. Tell us what made you start that business?
You know what? Honestly, my friends were working at the grocery store bagging groceries for $3 an hour or something ridiculous. And I had put in quite a few years, I guess that would have been like 7 or 8 years, into learning how to play the piano. Now, I am absolutely not a performing pianist of any sort. I don't love performing. I am not there to get the accolades. I don't want it. I don't like the pressure of being all eyes on me and having to play it perfectly. But I am really good at taking those skills that I learned and helping someone else to learn them. And that's what makes me a great coach, I think, too, is that I don't want to be the center of attention. I want to actually help my clients be like, it's all about them, right?
What's fun?
So I love the teaching piano. I love seeing their transformation. And so for me, I don't actually know exactly what prompted me to do it, but I was like, I had my grade 8 Toronto Conservatory music. I had my theory, it was like level 3 theory or something like that. It's like so long ago, I can barely remember, almost 30 years ago. But I had what I needed to start teaching with kind of the same qualifications as some of the other teachers in the area. And I thought, why not start teaching some beginners and make some side money in a way that, was way more flexible to me. I mean, I was making like $20 an hour, with these friends were making, I don't know, under 4.
Beats that. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And that was way better than the second job I had, which was janitorial work. That was not really a fun job at all.
No. Now, one thing you said that really resonated with me is that it's not about the money, it's about the transformation. This applies to any business, a transformation. It's not about even the results, but the transformation. We'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah, absolutely. Now, there's a saying, I'm sure you heard it: change your story, change your life. Your story, what you keep telling ourselves on a daily basis. So when you're Christy, you had to change your story at some point in your life, either to to change your life or to bring it back to where you want it to be? How did you do it? With friends, family, mentors, books, videos? Tell us a process you used to change your story, to change your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had a lot of challenges, and I've had to change direction in my story quite a few times, actually. It's a lot of looking inward to figure out what is right for me. And definitely, I love reading. So books are huge. I love conversation. So deep conversations with people I love and trust have been really huge. And just kind of going on maybe a bit of intuition, which sometimes it's like, doesn't seem like the logical direction to take, but it's honestly never led me astray. And when I ignore it, that's when I've been led astray. So leaning into that more and more, because I feel like the answers are there within already, and I just need to listen for them.
Now, let's talk about your path from when you left school to now. How would you describe your path? Would you say it was pretty much straightforward, smooth sailing once you get into one lane? Or was it like more like a roller coaster with turns and twists along the way?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter. It's probably one of those roller coasters, that goes real way up high and then flips you upside down a whole bunch of times. It's probably like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think parenting is like the biggest, most challenging adventure I've ever gone on.
Oh, yes.
My kids we're growing up together is what's happening. We are teaching each other. We are learning from each other. We are pushing each other to expand and grow. Anybody who says, I don't know if I'm ready to have a family. Well, no, you're never going to be ready. That's the point. They're going to help you become more and more ready at the perfect time as you walk through that journey. But you're never going to feel ready in advance of that, because I don't think it's something you can truly prepare for. It's just something that you learn and grow and experience every single moment.
Totally. I totally relate with that. Well, not with the kid part, because I don't have kids yet, but the growing up together and being challenging and all that. Absolutely. I've seen it through my niece, my nephew. I was, I did some babysitting for them a while ago when they were a kid, a few years ago, but oh yes, that takes a lot of time, a lot of efforts, especially with my niece. She was 3. I was trying to put her to sleep. I would fall asleep before she would put me to sleep before she goes to sleep. So,
Yeah, I remember very, very much the early times. I actually had 3. So I have 3 boys, and I actually have a bonus son now because my partner also, he came with a son. But when my kids are little, they're very close in age. My first 2 are 1 year apart, and then my third is 2 years after that. So I had three babies, 3 and under, and now they're teenagers. So it's an entirely different world. Definitely. Oh man, like the sleep deprivation will do it to you, man. And now I'm on the flip side. And it's funny, I saw a meme the other day that said something like, when I was little, I really wanted to, make my own bedtime. And I really wanted to stay up past 9 o'clock. And the irony is, now that I'm an adult and I get to make my own bedtime, it would appear that that's 9 o'clock. And that's totally me. I'm like, can I please go to bed? And I have teenage boys that's when they're like deep thinking and want to have a conversation. And I'm like, oh, Mom's tired. Like, get at me at 3 p.m. That's when I'm like, let's talk.
Absolutely. Yes. Wow. Awesome. Now, let's talk now about the impact you're having in the world. Tell us about your business.
Yeah, my business is very much born out of my own personal journey as a sort of a foundation and basis of all the things that I learned, because a big part of it is overcoming a very difficult marriage, divorce, high conflict divorce, continued high conflict co-parenting, and all of the things that kind of come along with that. So I learned so much about myself from that relationship. And a lot of it is stuff I'm looking back now, realizing that I didn't totally see then, but I see now. Beautiful thing of like increasing levels of consciousness. And you're like, oh, yeah, I see now what that was about. But learning so much about how to love myself again. And I think I did at some point, and it kind of got lost along the way. And I think that's part of the world's conditioning and relationships, and these things shape us and mold us and take us on the journey that we need to go on to learn whatever lessons we need to learn to grow and expand and go to that next level. But I found myself in a relationship where I didn't know who I was anymore. I was a mom. If somebody asked me who I was, I pretty much was like, yeah, I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. Like, I literally felt completely lost. I felt like I didn't have a significant purpose. I mean, I felt like I had a purpose with my kids, but it wasn't all about me. It was like kind of being stuck in, I call it just a momitis. Sometimes that looks like the mom martyrdom, sort of like kids come first, I come last kind of thing. I spent a lot of time in that space, and you know what? It sucked. It kind of sucked. Like, the energy of it really sucked. I worried constantly. I felt like I was a failure as a mom. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't have anything for me. So I felt personally unfulfilled, and I know that spilled over. And then my relationship was also a whole other layer on top of that. But what I started to do was kind of look into, who am I and what do I want to do? Because I felt there was more for me, and I needed to get myself the fuck unstuck from living that life where it was everyone else and me last. I needed to put on the proverbial oxygen mask and figure it out so that I could actually become the mom I wanted to be. And that mom that I wanted to be was someone who showed their kids. Kids don't listen. If you learn anything from parents, they do not listen to what you say. They are watching what you do. I needed to become that human, that role model for them, that would love myself fiercely and accept myself, and to lean into the gifts that I had and share that with the world, because I know that what's good for me is good for the world at large, because we are all interconnected. So I needed to just take the reins on that one, do it for myself, so that out of that could flow all of that love, all of that peace, all of that, acceptance to my kids, but also show them the way to find that for themselves. I hope. I don't know. They're teenagers. They're
Oh yes. They're a crucial time in their lives. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's call them the free electrons. If that's the best way to put it.
They are. It's all over the place.
Oh yeah. I hear you. I was like that myself as well. No.
Yeah. Part of my journey ended up actually, I really wanted to make the marriage work. I was very committed, but part of my journey led me to realizing that I was too, I didn't set the right boundaries, and I was actually really awesome. I realized I'm kind of awesome, and I was too liberal with those boundaries, and I needed for myself to be in a different situation. I do hope it is absolutely, it was the best decision for me, no doubt about it. I really am believing it was the best decision for both of us to progress ourselves and to move to the next level and to learn whatever was necessary to be learned. And so that I could launch myself towards something really, truly fulfilling and that can actually make a difference in the world. So now I'm coaching because I really do think that by transforming even just one person at a time, by going deep and doing the work and taking that person on a personal transformation journey, I know that the ripple effects from that are going to be absolutely freaking huge, right? That's going to impact their family. And sometimes that brings their family back together. I've seen that with my clients, where them deciding to love and accept themselves and show up in authenticity and chase after what makes their heart come alive really brings them together, because their partner finally sees that spark and their partner is drawn back to it. Unfortunately, in my situation, that part of my journey didn't end that way, but that's okay, because after I left, I absolutely, I'll say I manifested my ideal partner. He is everything I could ever ask for. He is a true partner in every sense. And I am so grateful for everything that led me to this place where I am right now. So I just want to share with others because, oh my gosh, there's so much waiting for them that they just need to step up and claim. So
Totally. You said one thing that really caught, I can resonate with is said, not setting up the right boundaries. And that applies to everything in life, every relationship,
yeah.
business, friendships,
Yep.
Love, whatever. It's all about, setting the rules from the beginning, because if you don't, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna last long.
Yeah, that I was like way too loosey goosey on those boundaries
Yeah,
for a while. And sometimes when you firm up the boundaries, you find out who
it's
was really
healthy
wanting
actually.
to take advantage, right? So
Yeah,
that can be really clarifying and can be really stressful because it can actually cause you to need to sever some relationships where people are not willing to respect your boundaries. But it's very eye-opening. So all for the
absolutely.
highest good.
I'm sure that must have been one of the most powerful lessons you learned. I can say for myself that was one of the most powerful lessons that I learned as well, as put the boundaries and learning to
Yeah.
say no and putting yourself
Yep.
first. Because it's not being selfish to think that you're the most important person in your world, because for you to be able to do any good out there, you need to be at your best.
Absolutely.
If you're not at your best, you're not going to be of any use for able to do any impact. So it's not selfish at all. It's actually being very generous and
I
altruistic
agree.
for you to take care of yourself, because only by being the greatest version of you that you can be of greatest use and benefit to people
Yeah.
around in the society in general.
And none of that like self-care bubble bath and massages
Yeah.
bullshit. None of that.
No.
That is surfacey nonsense. Like
No,
I believe
exactly.
you need to take time for like soul care and
Yeah.
find the things that light you up, because it's so much easier to spread that love, peace, joy, happiness into the world to other people when it's actually just overflowing out of you instead of trying
Yeah.
to like pull the last little bit from here. I'm going to try and give that over there. And now I got nothing.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, got
Yes.
to
Yes.
fill up your soul with all that goodness so that it can overflow.
Yeah. Just like we eating food to feed our body, we need to feed your soul, your mind with
Yeah.
positive, constructive, informational things as well. Absolutely. Now, tell us, who would you say is your ideal client?
Oh, my ideal client is super intelligent, like knows what's what. They're smart. They're absolutely brilliant. They have a huge heart, and actually, I want to call in and work with people who want to change the world. So heart-centered people who want to make a difference, change makers, I would call them, people who want to help other people, help inspire and empower. I think that the clients that I really want to work with know they have this in them, but they're not quite sure how to make it happen. So they're a little overwhelmed. They may be really busy, probably a lack of boundaries causing them to be overly busy, a little all over the place, saying yes to too many things that aren't, well, I like to say, like, if it's not a fuck yeah, it's a no kind of situation. So there's a lot of factors in there, but like they're typically feeling a little unfulfilled, like there's something more for them and that they'd like to impact and make a difference in the world. They want to be a good parent, a good partner. They want that love to overflow, but they're not quite sure how to make that happen because they're just a little bit stuck and overwhelmed. So the message isn't quite getting out.
Yeah. Do you target a specific demography or specific industry, or I don't know?
I have typically, for the most part, worked with a lot of moms just because I'm a mom. Obviously, it's very
Exactly.
relatable. And I tend to call in a lot of moms who are like, okay, well, when I look for a coach, and I work with all kinds of different coaches, I look for someone who is doing what I want to do, who shares that relatable experience, who can understand, what I might be going through on my end too, that might get in the way of doing that thing. So, typically I've found the best coaches that I've worked with are very familiar with what it's like to be a parent, or very, very familiar expertise in their craft. And I'm kind of willing to make that work myself. But the very most inspiring ones are the ones that are like very much relatable to me. And I find that that's what my clients really are drawn to, is they're like, you know, I want to do this thing and I don't know how to do it. I see you're doing this thing. And I see that you're also balancing the family and all of these parts, because life is complicated. We're not just a business owner. We are also all of those other parts, and they've got to work together and be balanced in order for things to move forward in an aligned way. So, and they're probably a little bit like me, a little spontaneous energy wise. It's not always like I don't want to work with the people who can go from 7 to 7. Like, they would tire me out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, let's find people who, and I think that's the thing. A lot of what I do is help them to balance that energy too, right? So that they can keep it in like soul focus, not swinging from one side to another, not, you know, shifting from ego to more of a soul purpose, aligned focus, heart-centered, build the life, the business, the relationships, all of those components together that are going to create the life that they have been yearning for.
Absolutely. Wow. Awesome. Now, how are you getting your clients?
My approach has been entirely relational thus far. I've thrown some money into Facebook ads and it's gotten me nothing. That's not my wheelhouse. I don't know what I'm doing. It's largely been, you know, I do love to inspire. I love creating content. That's why I'm writing the book. I love creating content to inspire and empower people. So I post, you'll find me on Facebook. I know I'm on Instagram, but I'm totally not down for that whole like filtered perfect vibe. So like my Instagram is obviously, I don't know. It's like I share my Facebook over there. I like Facebook because it feels much more interactive. I feel like we can build better relationships. It's not to say that can't happen on other platforms, but it's just in my experience, that's where I've been able to see what you're posting more consistently and really create and form those relationships. And that is, for the most part, either via my content and people reaching out being like, okay, I know you can help me. Please help me. Or people I, you know, in my network have referred and that kind of thing as well. So it's very relational.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Agreed. Because, you know, one of the things that we're taught at school and everywhere, even some self-proclaimed gurus tell us, is that business is a numbers game. Yes, numbers matter, but it's definitely not, from my experience, in numbers game. Business, what is business? Business is a relationship nurturing process. You do business with people you can connect as a person, as a human being. If you don't connect with a person as a person, you don't care if you have a PhD, if you have 55 years experience and whatnot. None of that matters. So exactly. This is why, for me, it's all about relationships, because when people get to know you, trust you, and like you, they will reach out to you. It's going to be a natural progression for them to do business with you. And that's one of my,
like, I never want to convince anyone. Exactly. That just is like bad news bears. Like, if you have to convince someone, I feel like I just feel like that creates this whole energy of like, if I have to convince you, I'm probably going to also have to drag you. And that's not going to be for the highest good for either of us. So we're staying away from that. We're just working on relationships. And when people see, oh, you have a solution for this problem I'm having, great. Let's talk about how that might look if it's a fit for both of us.
Exactly. Absolutely. This is what I do. And this is how I proceed, because this is the best way to go. Yeah. Now, you mentioned transformation, a word that I love. And for me, it's all about transformation. Share with us, Cristy, if you don't mind, an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen so far from one of your clients.
Gosh, I have to pick one? Yeah. I've seen so many.
That's awesome.
I might be like maybe a little bit general on this because it's sort of a recurring theme.
Okay.
I have many clients, and like I kind of said before, I used to have a lot of clients that came to me that wanted to lose weight. They wanted to feel better in their body. And while I really think that it's important to feel good in your body, it actually has nothing to do with the size of your body. Yes, you can be working on health goals, absolutely. But the more time you spend focused on those shoulds, those expectations, and doing that stuff that actually you hate doing, and extreme focus on it actually increases your cortisol, inflammation in your body, which managed to make you hold on to that weight instead of releasing it like you ought to. So anyways, that was a side note. Lots of people want to lose weight or change their body structure. And I think a lot of those clients, like the biggest transformation I've seen is came in wanting to like lose 30 pounds, went out like absolutely fired up and inspired to do the thing that actually lights their soul on fire, completely unrelated to that. But you know what? The losing the weight was a symbolic thing holding them back from chasing their dream. And when they were able to release the need to lose the weight before they chased the dream found its way right into their current reality and took them on a journey that they would never have thought they were looking for when they were looking for weight loss. So this happens all the time. Like, absolutely. This is a pretty common sort of outcome. And just so many clients lacking confidence, feeling unfulfilled, and then discovering that thing that they are absolutely meant to do on this earth and following it with passion is just, it's so incredibly exciting. And I love even the tiniest breakthroughs. I get so excited for my clients because I'm like, that they don't even think it's huge. And I'm like, oh my gosh, your self-awareness right now is just lighting me up inside. And I'm so proud of them for realizing those next steps, which I'm not doing anything. I'm helping them. I'm not doing it for them, but like I'm helping encourage them, and they're taking it to task and making it happen. And it's magic.
Absolutely. When you actually see transformation, this is the most rewarding thing ever. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's all about transformation. Absolutely. Love that.
Yeah.
Now, let's move forward. Let's talk about causes. This is a theme of this podcast. What would you say is for you, Cristy, a cause that is very dear to your heart?
Well, as I was kind of feeling very stuck in my prior marriage, I felt very helpless and very, very powerless to change things. And when I was in that space, it was very, I don't even know if it was completely fear. Like there was fear for sure. It was more of a hopeless, like, I didn't feel like things were ever going to change. And I felt so very stuck. And at this point, like my heart is just absolutely in helping people to get from whatever that stuck place is where they don't think their dreams are possible, to help them get dislodged, to get the fuck unstuck from that, and to actually realize that they are the creator of their life, that they have the power, they have the, they may not have the tools. That's okay. I got the tools, and I will bring the belief in them until they have, enough of their own to take them on their own journey. I just really want to help people get unstuck and realize how powerful they are, become the conscious creator in the world that they were meant to be.
Love that. Wow. Powerful. Listen, I love talking to you. We can talk for hours. Love your passion. We're very, aligned in a lot of ways. But let's start wrapping things up. And just to end, I'd like to ask you another rapid fire series of questions on advices. Ready?
Okay, bring it.
All right, let's go. Rock and roll. Now, what would you say has been so far the best piece of advice you've received?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to credit a lot of books that I've read. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotion. Your identity is not what you think it is, and that you have the power to create the one you want.
Love that. Now, what would you say has been so far the worst piece of advice you've received so far, other than get a job?
Oh God, that's a terrible advice for sure. Anything that's been like, you should, it doesn't matter. Anything you should is pretty much meh. If it doesn't vibe, it's terrible advice. I've like kind of gone through a journey where stop shoulding all over myself. And I'm trying to enunciate that really clearly. Stop shoulding all over yourself, because when you're doing anything that anyone else tells you should be doing, or even your own created expectations of those external shoulds, you're not following that right path necessarily. And you deserve better, and you don't need to be limited by anybody else's shoulds. So, or your own.
Absolutely. 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 I think, no, sorry, let me rephrase that. I strongly believe that it would be to everyone's interest to completely remove the word should from your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Should, try, dabble, because come on, be real. Let's be real. Exactly. See what happens.
Go after what lights your soul on fire. Just do it.
This is what life is about. Life is, this is a school, and I like to compare life, because I love eating to a wonderful 5-star Michelin buffet for us to try a little bit of every dish, a little bit of this, a bit of this, so yeah.
It's an adventure.
Absolutely.
And life is short. All we have, really, truly, all we have is right now, this moment. How are you going to make the best of that? That's all you need to know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, imagine that you were blessed with a time machine. You can go back in time and sit face to face with 18-year-old Cristy. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to her, knowing all that you know now?
Stop wearing masks.
Yes.
And let go of all. Stop shooting on yourself. That's definitely on there. Stop wearing masks. Stop trying to be what other people want you to be, and start being who you were absolutely meant to be.
I love
before the world got its dang hands on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be you, be authentic, be genuine. Yeah. Who cares if people, you're not here to please everyone. It's okay. You want to be able to do what you want, and the people can resonate with you. They will come to you. That's all you need.
Yeah. People pleasing, definitely some people pleasing, and perfectionism, definitely some things that I've had a lot of lessons to overcome those. I mean, they still going to rear their ugly head, I'm sure, from time to time. But for the most part now, I totally recognize it and can shut it down, because I'm here for more than that, and I'm not going to let that hold me back. So.
Absolutely agree with you. Now, I know you don't have your podcast yet, but imagine you had your podcast, and today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, which is yourself. So you're interviewing yourself today, Cristy. What's the first question you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. What is the first question that comes to your mind?
Oh my gosh. Well, now my mind is going 1,000 things at once. I would probably ask, because I would really want to share. So I'm thinking of the podcast question, interviewer asking the question I actually want to share the answer to, which would be to how to take back your own power, how to create everything that you desire. So I guess I would probably want to ask, like, what's your process for, creating transformation, for creating that happy life? One of my programs is called Create Your Happy. Maybe I would ask, how do you create your happy?
And in a nutshell, what's your answer? How does Cristy create her happiness?
It was a lot of trial and error for me. It all comes down to self-love and self-acceptance. It has to do with overcoming the mental nonsense. So meditation is hugely important in my world for creating that space between the thoughts. I really think that's where the opportunity to be creative, to find that love and acceptance, is when you can stop the mind machine and really take things back to the root of who you are, really learning and growing and leaning into that.
Awesome. Now, the last question, and my favorite question of all.
Okay.
What is the smallest thing you've done that has had the greatest positive impact in both your life and business? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing. Like for me, for example, has been starting my podcast. What about you?
I'm gonna have to go with meditation. It literally helped me to overcome the overwhelm that was keeping me stuck, both in business and my personal life. I started a very consistent daily practice. And that shifted everything for me. Like that ability, when I started, it was a hot mess. I'm gonna be real. I could barely get through 5 minutes without my mind being all over the place. But with that daily practice, it really gave me the skills to take throughout my day to stop those thoughts that aren't serving me, right? They pop in there. I don't have to claim them. I no longer claim the ones that don't serve me. I put those on a little cloud and push it away, because that's what meditation has done for me. It's given me that ability to actually be the observer of my thoughts instead of accepting them all as out of my control.
Basically, you just like in real life, you're putting boundaries around you, you're saying no to things and putting yourself first. You're applying that also for your thoughts. That's a brilliant way of putting it. Absolutely.
And emotions too, because those aren't necessarily ours either. It's a physical sensation in the body until we label it as something else, right? So being aware of the way that all of that works together actually gives us the ability to take back that power and stop the spiral. So
absolutely love that. Now, one question I have now for you, for me. I know you're very nice and kind, but for this question, I want you to be very straight up. Give me tough love. Do you have any tips for me to improve my podcast?
I loved your rapid fire questions. I really like that. That's fun. It's super engaging. Do I have anything specific? I really enjoyed this whole conversation. I'm not sure I can come up with anything.
Awesome.
I haven't seen the whole finished product yet, but
okay, that's a good one. All right. So all right, cool, awesome. So that means I will be happy to bring you back for part 2, and then we can critic part 1, and then have an update. And I'm sure there's so much more else we can talk. Maybe talking about your new business you just started and your podcast and so on and so forth. So, well, okay.
Yeah. I can't
Challenge
wait
taken and accepted.
Challenge taken. For the podcast. And hopefully maybe I can have you come on my podcast when I start it eventually.
I would be honored. I would be absolutely honored. So yeah. So listen, Cristy, absolutely phenomenal talking to you. Love your energy, your passion, your drive. We have tremendous lessons that you learn. And now those lessons become, as I keep on saying, those lessons become our gifts, and those gifts become our responsibility to share them. And you're doing that. You're changing lives. You're transforming lives. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, I can't not. You know what I mean? Like from
absolutely
going from there to here, I can't leave my fellow brothers and sisters stuck over there without telling them, without sharing, without showing them the way. I can't. So
absolutely. And if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
The very best way is on the old Facebook. You can find my Facebook profile. I have a website link that will direct you there. It is coachchristyholt.com. I'm on the Instagram. I'm on the LinkedIn. I don't spend a lot of time there, but absolutely I am on Facebook posting regularly. I am on Messenger. I love to connect. So if any of this vibed and you want to connect, collaborate, I am happy to chat with anybody who's got a similar mission, who's looking for help, looking for, I don't know, other people to bounce ideas off of, any of these things just to change the world. Reach out, start a conversation. I'm always there.
Love that. Awesome. We'll put that in the show notes. Listen, Cristy, I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your presence, with your smile, with your mission, and with everything you've got. Stay safe. Stay awesome. God bless you, my friend. We're definitely going to be keeping a conversation from now on. Take care, my friend. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome.
Cheers. Bye-bye.